Did you know Walter Payton was cut from his high school football team, yet he went on to become the NFL's all-time leading rusher? What's his secret? There's an untold story of overcoming adversity, achieving greatness, and leaving a legacy that will live on forever. In this video, we'll explore the story of the legendary running back who shattered records and inspired millions. We'll go beyond the highlights and statistics to reveal the man behind the myth. So stick around to discover all that there is to learn from his inspiring journey, and don't forget to subscribe. Walter Payton was one of the greatest football players of all time. He was a 9-time Pro Bowler, a 7-time All-Pro, and the NFL's all-time leading rusher. But his story is more than just about statistics and awards. He's the youngest of 3, born in 1954, while others swear that it's 1953. Family life was not all sunshine for Walter Payton. His father worked in a factory and played semi-pro baseball, but tragedy struck in 1978 when he was wrongly accused of DUI, had a stroke in jail, and then passed away. Now rewind to Walter's childhood. Think about Boy Scouts, Little League, and Sundays at the local church. He was not only a spectator, he was well into the mix. Then high school came around at John J. Jefferson, where Walter wasn't only about football, he also played the drums in the marching band, ran track, and sang in the choir. And he also rocked the drums in jazz rock groups as well. Football was not the initial plan. His brother Eddie was already on the team, and Walter did not want to outshine him. But destiny had other ideas. The football coach invited Walter to give it a shot as long as he could keep on drumming, and that's how a football star would be born. Junior year, his first carry was 65 yards for a touchdown, and Walter Payton wasn't the biggest guy, standing at 5'10", but he was a speed demon. The school was integrated during that time, and there was some coach drama. Walter and his teammates were not exactly thrilled, so they boycotted some spring practices. But come the fall, Walter was back and using his skills to bridge gaps in a changing community. Columbia's football coach, Tommy Davis, had called him a reliable scorer, and the stats would prove it. In the touchdown department, he had them in abundance. Not only in football, he also excelled in basketball, track, and baseball, and kept drumming in the school band. College time would roll in, and despite having been a star running back, the big colleges were not exactly knocking on Walter's door. Initially committed to Kansas State, he then changed his mind and chose Jackson State University. That Sweetness nickname that he garnered, it was begun in college, though no one's really sure why. Some say it was his personality, some say his smooth moves, or even a cheeky nod to his aggressive stylings. Either way, it stuck with him, and fast forward to 1975, where the Chicago Bears would snag him in the first round of the NFL Draft as their 4th overall pick. He would then be handed the number 21, but switched to the iconic 34 before the season began. After the legendary Gale Sayers had retired in '72, the Bears were in a slump, but little did they know that Walter Payton was about to make a change to the game. His first game was not exactly a blockbuster, 0 net rushing yards on 8 attempts. However, the final game against the New Orleans Saints showcased potential, rushing for 134 yards on 20 carries. The season wrapped up with 679 yards and 7 touchdowns. It was not an exemplary start, but Payton led the league in yards per kickoff return, offering a glimpse of the greatness that was to come. Determined to up his game, he then hit the field in 1976, rushing for 1,390 yards and scored 13 touchdowns. This would earn him a spot on the 1977 Pro Bowl and being crowned the Pro Bowl MVP. That following year was even more spectacular, 1,852 yards, 16 touchdowns, and a truckload of awards, which included the MVP from the Associated Press and Pro Football Writers of America. One standout moment would be in 1977 against the Minnesota Vikings, where Payton had set a then record of 275 rushing yards in a single game, all while battling a fever and intense flu. By the end of the 1970s, Payton wasn't only a running back, he had earned awards for his versatility, blocking, receiving, emergency punting, and even playing quarterback. Then came the 80s. The Bears had struggled, and despite Payton's brilliance, consecutive winning seasons were elusive. That's when Mike Ditka came in 1982, a former tight end who would later join the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Under Ditka's guidance, the Bears made a turnaround, 8-8 in '83 and 10-6 in '84, with Payton rushing for over 1,400 yards in both seasons. In 1984, he achieved a milestone, passing Franco Harris as the active leader in career rushing yards. Just a few weeks later, in October of 1984, against the New Orleans Saints, he then surpassed Jim Brown's career rushing record of 12,312 yards. The 1985 season was his zenith, rushing for over 1,500 yards and helping the Bears to establish the league's second-best offense. The crown and glory came in Super Bowl 20. With Payton's offensive prowess, the Bears received a 46-10 victory over the New England Patriots, and despite Payton not scoring touchdowns in the postseason, his impact would be undeniable. He would be targeted by 2 or 3 defenders on every play, allowing others on the team to shine. As a 12-year veteran, he scored 1,333 yards in the '86 season. Although the Bears had won the NFC Central Division, they lost to the Washington Redskins in the divisional round. Payton announced that he would retire after the 1987 season. His final season would see split carries with his successor, Neil Anderson. He rushed for a career-low 533 yards, but retired as a legend. Over his career, Payton had amassed over 16,000 rushing yards, breaking the record for most rushing yards in NFL history. He scored 110 touchdowns, catching 492 passes for 4,538 yards and 15 touchdowns. Payton's jersey number would then be retired by the Bears, and he entered the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1993, leaving a great impact on the sport that he loved. Additionally, he still holds the career record for a running back with 8 touchdown passes. One of Payton's signature moves was the stutter step, a high-stepping, irregularly paced run that became his trademark on the field. He developed this technique not only for showmanship, but as a strategic tool. And as he explained in his autobiography, the stutter step was like an option play. It kept defenders on their toes, forcing them to commit to a pursuit angle based on whether they thought he would accelerate after the step or cut. Payton, ever the cerebral player, would read their movements and do the opposite of what the defender had committed to, gaining a crucial advantage during long runs. Talking about his personal life, he married Connie Norwood in 1976. During his rookie year, the couple settled in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and moved to South Barrington, Illinois, and over their 18-year marriage, they welcomed 2 children, Jarrett and Brittany. However, their union faced a surprising turn when Payton would serve Connie with divorce papers, marking an end to their marriage. The divorce was never officially finalized, and they lived apart for most of Payton's remaining years. In 1987, a tragic accident took place when Payton accidentally shot the manager of a nightclub that he owned in Schaumburg, Illinois. The incident, involving a collector's handgun, had left the nightclub manager with damage to his knee, and it was an unfortunate chapter in Payton's life, overshadowed by his accomplishments on the field. Walter Payton made a name for himself in more than just sports. He had also made an impact on pop culture. In 1987, he teamed up with fellow football player Joe Montana to host an episode of Saturday Night Live. And in 1994, he was in the corner of Razor Ramon at SummerSlam, hosted by the World Wrestling Federation. In February of 1999, Payton tragically said that he had a rare liver disease that had finally turned into a bile duct cancer. Even though he had fought for organ transplants in his remaining months, his illness became too bad for a transplant to work, and it was then that he wrote a book called Never Die Easy. Walter Payton died November 1st of 1999 due to complications from his sickness. He was 46 years old. Every NFL game that week had a ceremony to remember him, and the Chicago Bears all wore number 34 patches on their jerseys as a tribute. Many people, including friends, family, and others around the NFL, had spoken at his funeral, which was held at Soldier Field. Walter Payton left a long legacy as one of the greatest football players ever, and was also a great role model and leader for others. His legacy lives on in the many players that he's inspired, and he showed that anything is possible if you work hard and never give up on your dreams. What do you think about this inspiring story of the legend Walter Payton? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get more videos like this one in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.